Hello and welcome to Tête-à-tête Unplugged. For all those joining us today, we are joined by Kanav Saluja, an A-star student from Manav Rachna International School. Kanav is an All India Rank 2 holder in the prestigious All India Law Entrance Test. But that's not the only reason we celebrate today. Kanav is all set to begin his law education at the prestigious National Law University, Delhi. Welcome to the show, Kanav.
Thank you, ma'am. It's truly a great honor to be here.
So let's start with a question that you get asked a lot these days. How does it feel?
Ma'am, it's a very great and a very surreal and a very joyous moment, not only for me but for the whole family. The fact that I'm able to make my parents proud, that adds on to the happiness, and also the reaction that follows. I was also recently felicitated by the Honorable Governor of Haryana. So that definitely adds to the joy. And yes, you finally accomplished what you were working hard for years. So it gives a sense of accomplishment and a sense of fulfillment. So yes, ma'am.
Wow, Kanav. Well, needless to say, you are a driven individual, and I'm very sure that many of your friends must derive inspiration from you. Kanav, with such rigorous academic goals and high expectations, how did you manage the stress during the intense preparatory period?
Yes, ma'am. Definitely, it's very natural that when you have such high expectations, such high competition, you would definitely get stressed from time to time. But definitely, there are a bunch of things which I did and which helped me out. Number one was definitely listening to music. That helped me a lot. Number two was talking to my friends, family, mentors. That is something that adds on, and like that's just a stress reliever, and in a sense that just gives you a sense of comfort that no matter how I perform or what happens, these people will be there with me. And also the third thing that helped me was definitely praying from time to time or going out on trips. So I went out a lot during my preparation phase. I went to Goa, I went to Bangalore. So that was just in order to ensure that I am not stressed. So yes.
Well, that's one way to relieve your stress, balancing out, your academic time, the time to study, the time to learn, and the time to recreate or recuperate. That is absolutely required there. Kanav, what or who, if I may ask you, what or who inspired you to pursue a career in law?
So ma'am, definitely there are numerous such inspirations, but if I have to name a particular person, that has to be Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, who is also the current Chief Justice of India. So I've been following him since a very young age, since I was in 7th grade. The work he has done, the way he has ensured that our constitutional rights are protected, his judgments have had an impact on the weakest of the sections of the society, the way he manages himself. So it's completely like I just look at him as a source of inspiration and as a sort of an ideal person or how a judge should be. So definitely he has inspired me a lot for pursuing law.
And what was that, that thought behind pursuing a career in law? Of course, D.Y. Chandrachud has been your inspiration throughout, but there must have been some instance that, pushed you in that direction or to follow that particular path.
Yes, ma'am. So if I have to pinpoint one specific incident, so what had actually happened that when I was in grade 6th or 7th, I suppose, our housemaid, she was involved in a domestic violence and a custody dispute. And she was dragged from court to court for years. It took some good 5-6 years for her to get her case listed and everything. She was unable to find good lawyers, government was not supportive, such are the issues. But one day there was this judge who had her custody case, and she just ensured that justice was delivered to her. She went a step ahead and ensured that the whole case as a whole, not just the case that she was viewing, was solved, and she pushed for a out of court settlement that eventually worked and helped ensure justice for the lady. And the way she speaks about that judge, I still remember her name, and Kumud Gognani. So like that just adds on to like the experience, and that just makes you believe that this is where we have to be. Like this is a place where I need to be at, where I can help people, where people think so highly of me. So definitely that was that one specific incident.
So you found your sense of purpose in that one particular case, and that's really thoughtful, Kanav, because children at the age of 5 or 6 are majorly more concerned about playing games and going out with their friends and enjoying movie time or TV time or the cartoon time, while you were there understanding what your life or what you were meant to do throughout your life. That's really inspiring, Kanav. let's go on to the next question. What was the most valuable lesson that you've learned from your law related studies so far? Well, you are yet to begin the actual law education, but in the preparatory phase also you've studied a lot about it. So what's that one or maybe more than one valuable lessons that you have learned through this preparatory zone?
So yes, ma'am, I'll actually try to codify it in a bit of magniloquent English, in the sense that I'll be using heavy words so that the ones who are actually preparing for CLAT and AILET, they'll also add on that'll add to their vocabulary as well. So number one lesson is to be sedulous. That is basically to be dedicated, to keep working hard. Number two was to being punctilious. That is basically to pay attention to each and every minute detail, to be very cognizant of the fact that what you're reading and how like what does that mean and everything. It's not just something that you can apply during preparation, but also during the paper, that we have to be very attentive while we are giving the paper. And third is definitely being scrupulous. That is basically again being very like having a high attention to detail and ensuring that whatever you read, you are making sense of it. So yes, ma'am, those are the
That is really high-end vocabulary. Thanks for adding it to my list as well. Kanav, in what ways do you feel that your school has prepared you for the challenges of the law school and a career in law? I believe you have been with Manav Rachna since grade 4.
Yes, ma'am.
So how has the school supported your dream, and how has the school prepared you for the life ahead?
So definitely, ma'am, school has had a very great role and a very big role to play in my preparation. Number one was definitely the academic rigor at Manav Rachna that helped me prepare for the examination. So whenever like moments of stress were there, whenever I was not scoring much in mocks or such things happen, then I was able to manage myself, because it was something that I have dealt through in my schooling years as well. And second thing was definitely the peers that my school got me. So I actually prepared with a bunch of my friends, Daksh, Adya and Vanshika, and they just made my preparation a lot easier. So that helped. And third was definitely the teachers that were there. So they acted as a source of guidance, as a source of inspiration from time to time. And during my preparation phase, like definitely 11th and 12th, they helped me out a lot. They ensured that I do not miss on my school studies, and they put in an extra effort just to ensure that the concepts are clear to me. So here I would also like to mention Joyita ma'am from MRIS Charmwood. So she was a very great teacher. She has always went that extra mile for us. So yeah, very grateful for such teachers.
That is truly inspiring. That is truly motivational. Kanav, school life, we spend most of our learning years at the school, and that particular phase of our life is such that we will remember it throughout our lives. The friends that we make, the teachers that we find, even after 10, 20 years, if you meet them, that's the wonderful thing about teachers. They will always remember you. Even if you meet them after 20 years, they will just have a single look at you and they would know your name, they would know your badge, they would know what was the most naughtiest thing about you, what was the best thing about you, and that's something that really, never stops to amaze me. Kanav, let's move on to the next part. You have, been preparing for this particular exam for, I believe, 4 or 5 years now. For CLAT and AILET. So, what were your strategies that you found to be most helpful during your preparatory period, especially for CLAT and AILET?
So, if we have to go like into the intricacies of the examination and the things that helped me, number one strategy was definitely reading newspaper daily. So, I read The Hindu. So, that added to my knowledge base and my in general understanding of the world around me. So that helped me out a lot, and also it helped me with the language part of CLAT and AILET, which is a great portion. Secondly, timetabling myself. So our things are very haywire usually. Like that's something that happened with me as well. That when I started off my preparation, I just did not know when the day started and when it ended. It was just 2 activities which I did and the day is over. So then I started like timetabling myself before the day starts. That way I just knew like every minute and every second of mine was planned, that I have to do this and this. So that helped me out. Third is definitely practicing a lot of passages and a lot of mocks. I gave approximately 200 mock tests for CLAT and some 15-20 for AILET examinations specifically, although both are really similar. So that helped me out a lot. So yeah, these 3 things.
I remember in our conversation earlier, you mentioned something about not sleeping between 2 to 4 p.m. in the afternoon. What was that trick about?
So, the 2 to 4 trick, so actually CLAT and AILET, they take place from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. So, I have ensured that, I wanted to ensure that when I was giving the paper, my mind was active and in its most active state. So, in order to ensure that, I ensured that throughout the year, I did not sleep between 2 to 4, and it's usually the lazy time, but I ensure that I had my lunch not during that time, and also I do not sleep, and I was just studying during that time. That is something that I ensured, so that my mind is at its full capacity during the paper. So,
wonderful. Kanav, there must have been many instances, where you must have faced significant academic challenges. In a life of student, any minor thing can also come up as a big challenge for us. Maybe down the line you might feel that it was a really minor thing, but what were the most significant academic challenges or setbacks that you faced during this time, and most importantly, how did you handle it?
Ma'am, so here I would like to mention a particular incident that happened with me. So, I have actually prepared for CLAT and AILET both the examinations, and the preparation to a great extent is same. It was always clear in my mind that I need to get into NLU Delhi, but I always had this that I have prepared so much for CLAT and I wanted AIR 1 in CLAT or something of that sort, and that paper was much more certain than AILET. So, I was sure that like in my mind it was like I'll get AIR 1 in CLAT and I'll get a decent rank in AILET so that I can get into NLU Delhi. But on the day of the examination, CLAT, 3rd December, I still remember, and it was one of the worst days. I actually messed up my paper because current affairs came up very easy, and I was just baffled by that because I was of the opinion that like this is the section that gave me an edge in mock tests, and if I was if the paper is not testing me on that, that would mean that other people would get an edge over me. And I started thinking this, and I just started analyzing the paper while I'm giving the paper, and I just messed up my paper, and my rank came out to be 1032. So somewhere when you're expecting a rank of 1 and you get a rank of 1032, it's a very big heartbreak. The fact that you prepared so hard for this examination and people who just started off 4 months earlier, they got a better rank than you. That pinches you, and you just know that this is not where I should be, and the way I handle it. So actually, like just after 1 week after CLAT, it was AILET, and I knew that I need to get myself back into the zone, and I was completely disheartened because you just start questioning yourself that am I even at that level where I can think of such rank? Do I even deserve NLU Delhi? But then the way I handled it was definitely I had great mentors, and my parents, they helped me out a lot. They talked to me, they made me believe, like they ignited my belief in myself again. And secondly, definitely like talking to friends is something that helped. And here again I'll say that praying and like God had a big role to play. And on the day of the AILET examination, I was there with full fervor and I was very much ready for the paper. And thankfully that worked out.
Wonderful. Self-affirmations, self-talk, positive words, praying, talking to your peers, talking to the people who motivate you, who inspire you, and being surrounded by the ones who love you. I think that has a big role to play in anyone's success that I have always heard. So, are there any particular books, articles, or resources that have significantly influenced your approach to learning?
So yes, ma'am. I'll just mention two specific books here. Number one is Roses in December. That is actually an autobiography of one of the greatest judicial minds that India has ever produced. That is Justice M.C. Chagla. So his book, his experiences from pre-independence to post-independence, from coming from a very humble family, that he did not even have sufficient to like sponsor his own education, and then from there going to becoming one of the best and becoming a judge in the International Court of Justice. So definitely that was a great learning experience. Second is Courtroom Genius. That is actually a biography of one of the greatest lawyers of India, Nani Palkewala. And so his experiences, how he dealt with one of the most important cases of India, like Case Ananda Bharti and such cases. So yes, these two books have ensured, like they have just confirmed my choice of law as an examination, like as a career.
Wonderful. Kanav, looking at your high school experience, what are you most proud of?
Definitely this rank is something that I'll be most proud of. But apart from that, there's this one more achievement. So in October, in the university itself, Manav University, we had this international event called as Schoolathon on Sustainability, SOS. So there, being a single, like I was the only person in my team. I did not have even another team member, and I was able to present my business idea and everything, and I was able to secure a cash prize of 50,000 rupees. So that was a very great experience because there were about 500 teams, out of which only 12 were to be selected, and I was the only person who was not a team to say. So definitely it was a very great achievement. And yeah.
Fabulous, fabulous. Aside from academics, what are the other activities are you involved in, and how do they contribute to your overall development?
Ma'am, so yes, there are a bunch of activities that I am involved with. Number one is MUNs, I'll try to mention, Model United Nations. So I've been doing MUN since 6th grade. That's again where I can thank Manav as well, because in 6th grade we had our first MUN and conglomerate MUN. So it added a lot. From then my MUN journey began, and I've now done more than 50 MUNs, and I also continued doing MUNs during my preparation phase, and it actually acted as a break from the academic rigor, but also like in MUNs you have to research about a particular topic from its legal aspects and everything.
Absolutely.
So that helped me with CLAT and AILET as well, in a way, when I was preparing for an MUN. So I was in a way studying for CLAT and AILET as well. Second activity is definitely playing badminton. That is something that I'm into and I love. So yeah, these things definitely help me out.
Have you decided on a particular route or a direction that you want to take your law education in?
So ma'am, actually there are a bunch of ideas, and like actually the law as a field is very dynamic. Yeah. So right now I'm not restricting myself to a particular option, but definitely I have certain options in my mind, which include number one, judiciary, that can be to be a judge. Second is practicing and litigation. Third is definitely corporate law, that is also there as a backup. So yeah, I'll actually take a concrete decision 3 or 4 years into my law school.
Absolutely,
so, yeah.
Absolutely. That is actually the right time to decide, because that is when you would be able to understand where your highs lie.
Exactly.
Yeah. Kanav, now that you are at the brink of starting your journey at the National Law University, Delhi, what are you most looking forward to at that prestigious institution?
Ma'am, so number one is definitely the peers that I'll get. These are one of the most smartest people in the country. Like there's a batchmate of mine who got ICSE AIR 1 in 10th and 12th. So like such is the competition, and it's just very great that you have such smart people who are into books, who are into law, who are excited by it, who don't see it as a burden. So definitely studying and like competing with them is a great prospect. Second is the teachers that we have. So and especially given the new law codes which will be there, BNS, PNSS and all. So those are actually prepared by our own teachers from NLU Delhi. So they will definitely give us that hindsight, that what was the thought that went behind a particular provision of the act and everything. So that is there. And third is definitely the campus. We have a very beautiful campus, very sweet one. So definitely we have great amenities there, the library, the stores which are there, the classrooms and everything. So yeah.
And library is something to look forward to.
And also moot court hall. So I'd like to mention that.
So that sounds like a really amazing opportunity for learning and growth, Kanav. One quick question: if you could go back and do one thing differently, what would that be?
If I could do that, maybe it would be not messing up my CLAT and like giving it with full favor. Even if I saw that current phase is easy, I would have maybe thought that, okay, if it's easy for me, it's also easy for me, right? Or not only for everyone. So I should just give my 100% in this paper and analyze it later. Maybe that is something that I could have changed if I would.
Kanav, if you could describe your school journey in one line, what would that be?
I'll say the journey was so beautiful that for a moment you forgot the goal.
That really brought goosebumps, Kanav. That was a nostalgic line, and it took me back to my school days again. And thank you for choosing that line to sum up your school journey. Now, before we wrap up, let's lighten the mood with a quick rapid fire. Are you ready?
Sure, ma'am.
Okay, here we go. Early bird or night owl?
Night owl.
One book that changed your life?
Roses in December.
Go to study snack?
Lay's, any chips. Like, yeah.
Coolest project that you've worked on?
The business idea, Stubble Trouble is the name. So.
Wonderful. Favorite spot in the school?
Library.
Indeed. One skill you'd love to learn?
Swimming.
One person who inspires you the most?
Justice Diva Chandrachud.
Books, Kindle, podcast, your pick?
Kindle.
Always, right?
Yeah.
If you could switch places with someone for a day, who would that be?
Again, Justice Diva Chandrachud.
Why would that be? I'm just curious.
Ma'am, the power that he holds, the impact that I can bring on people. So definitely, I love to experience that for once.
one word that your friends used to describe you.
Dictionary.
I assumed that, I was really sure that dictionary would be it. If you could have one superpower, what would that be?
To maybe go back in time, having a time machine, giving flat again.
Who doesn't want that? Best piece of advice that you've ever received?
Keep going, keep working hard, irrespective of how hard it gets. So.
That always works, no?
Yeah, definitely.
If you could meet one historical figure, who would it be?
B.R. Ambedkar, to just get insights how he made the constitution. So.
That is a really thoughtful thing. Kanav, thank you for playing along, Kanav, and thank you for sharing your inspirational journey with us. I'm sure whoever is going to listen to it will derive motivation from it. I have grown wiser speaking with you today. It has been a wonderful experience.
Thank you, ma'am.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. As we prepare to bring you more prodigies from Manav Rachna International School, stay tuned.